why do you blame the Biden administration?
Because they let them in. Are you stupid? Are you a stupid person? Because they came on a plane along with thousands of other people that shouldn't be here, and you're just asking questions because you're a stupid person.
Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! ويأسنس حرام! حرام يأسنس نس! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! وتوفت بمقت حلال! Allahu Akbar!
And there's a law passed that it's almost impossible not to get them out. You can't get them out.
Good afternoon, and today is November 28th, 2025. This is just 2 days after the Afghan national shot 2 National Guardsmen in Washington, D.C. One of them now has no longer with us anymore. She is gone. She's looking down. We pray for her. We pray for the other National Guardsman. Sarah Beckram was the girl who's no longer with us, but the other National Guardsman, we pray for him, and we also pray for the other person I think that was involved in it as well. So I think there was 3 people total. And I want to tell you a little bit more information that I found about the dude, the Afghan national who did this awful crime, and some of the things that I'm just sort of like reading into that don't make any sense. But in the world of clown, where we have this really rogue government, we know that this shooter had like very heavy CIA ties, and CIA doesn't just turn their back. But before I get into that, do you mind if you could please just hit that like button, make sure that that helps this video get out, because I've been sort of watching across the board, and a lot of these content creators they're not talking about any of this right now. There's not a lot coming out, so hopefully I can help enlighten you people on what's going on, and maybe give you a few, I don't know, ideas and where I stand with things. And so let me dig into that now. Let's get into this article, and I want to thank you all for watching. Here we go. This is what I found here. I mean, it wasn't hard to find. This information is out there, but I'm always digging, and I've dug in a little bit on some of the other platforms. But right now, this is what I'm coming up with. The FBI raids a $2,000 a month Washington apartment of the Afghan immigrant who ambushed the 2 National Guard soldiers near the White House. So this dude is living in a very expensive apartment. To me, $2,000 a month is expensive. I don't know what rent is in that area. I imagine that's probably not that expensive for the area. But it's strange that this dude, he was living with a family that was supporting him and his wife, 5 kids, and they also had they had apparently taken out like a GoFundMe for the family to help them get on their feet with their new place to live. And according to, and by the way, the last update on the GoFundMe was in 2023, which means that I don't know how long this dude's been living in this apartment, but since 2020, it's like a couple of years. And so with that being said, this article goes into the fact that this family, or this dude or whatever, living in this apartment, they sleep on like cushions. They have very little furniture. They don't talk or interact with any of the neighbors, because there was people were talking about this, and they were reportedly saying that the guy just pretty much sits around in his house all day and plays Call of Duty. So either he's somebody, I don't know if I hate to say this, but a lot of these Muslim people, the man sits at home and makes the wife go to work. That's what happens. He probably sits at home all day, prays to Allah and Allah Akbar and all these things, and does all this stuff, and focuses on spreading the Muslim ideology, while the wife goes and makes and earns the money. And then when she gets home, he probably beats the crap out of her. I'm just saying that actually is not too far out of a realm of possibility. And so I'll read a little bit about this. And so what I have as far as information, FBI raided this $2,000 a month apartment in Bellingham, Washington on Thursday, executing search warrants as part of a rapidly expanding terrorism probe tied to the Afghan national dude who's I don't want to say his name, because I don't like to give this dude any kind of any bit of I don't want his fan. It's like people over there like, yay, Allah Akbar, la 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 la. But let me just read a little bit, and I want to talk a minute too about the CIA ties and how this just sounds very, very strange. And so it says, tied to the Afghan national, the gunman who ambushed and shot the 2 National Guard members just steps away from the White House, is facing at least 3 counts of assault with intent to unalive. Sorry, people on YouTube, I have to use that word for the algorithm and the AI that picks up on the stuff that throttles all my content, along with criminal possession of a weapon. So apparently he was probably some sort of a felon. I laugh because what the hell, if you're supposed to be some kind of Afghan national CIA infiltrator guy that works for the CIA. You know, you think you'd have clearance to do that. But anyhow, authorities have hinted that the additional charges, possibly terrorism related, could be forthcoming. And he also, and I think this article was written before the news had came out that Sarah Beckham is not with us anymore, so he'll be getting charged for that as well, more than likely. The raid led FBI counterterrorism agents to seize multiple electronic devices, cell phones, laptops, iPods from a residence that stunned neighbors described as sparse, with no beds, just couch cushions they would sleep on, and barely any furniture. This is what the IBT reported. But so it says, according to locals, the dude, I don't want to say his name, spoke little English, barely mingled with the neighbors, and was often seen playing Call of Duty inside his apartment. And the operation also included searches of properties in both Washington State and San Diego. I guess San Diego is where that's in California. That is such a long way to move. I think that's where he was living with that family. But where agents reportedly collected additional digital materials. Huh. It says that officials confirmed special interviews have been conducted with the dude's relatives, including his brother, who also is living in the United States. Because a lot of these people, they bring their whole family over. Whenever they're signing this like asylum thing, they just bring their whole. Everybody comes over, and you know that means you have a whole like a decadence of radicalized people coming into your country. Before securing his own residence, this dude and his family, I'm not saying his name because I don't want to give him fame, his wife and 5 young sons were housed by a Washington State couple who launched a now deleted GoFundMe campaign. This is, by the way, Stand and Vow. I'm reading what they say with their GoFundMe. Stand and Vow, and we are fundraising for an Afghan refugee who stayed in her home 2 months before finding an apartment, rental housing in Bellingham, Washington. It says here that that dude and his wife have 5 wonderful boys, ages 11 to 2. Oh my goodness! So that means, you know, bringing all that in here before being evacuated to the U.S. in September 2021. This dude served 11 years as a member of the Afghan Special Forces alongside U.S. service members fighting the Taliban. This is an opportunity for you to help and truly wonderful family. Now, I'm going to debunk a little bit of that, or at least give you an opinion on what I think is really going on here. They left the Afghanistan with nothing, and they need housing and kitchen items of all kinds. Please wonder. And by the way, the update on this account was in 2023. And so basically, and that's their GoFundMe thing that they had up, and this is. And let me go into a little bit of an opinion fact here. Let me make myself real big. A lot of red flags pop up when I read into that. You know, you work for the CIA fighting the Taliban for 11 years, and you come into the United States, and then somehow or another, they're not monitoring you. They're not watching what you're doing. They're not in contact with you. They just, all right, so you go into the United States, have a good time, thanks for working for us, guys. Just set you right on over here. No contact, CIA people are probably monitoring me right now. I don't even know about it, but they probably are, and they probably got records of every video I've did and everything I've talked about, phone records, text messages, financial transactions, everything. Just because of the things that I get into right here, the stuff that you and I talk about, and which means that, and I am nothing compared to this guy right here who actually worked for the people. And if you ever know anything about the CIA, once you're CIA, you're always CIA. That is you ask any member who will tell you the truth, old, young, whatever, whenever it's time for you to retire. No, you retire. You don't go into the CIA office building anymore. You don't do the parties and the things and the that. But you know, you're in contact with somebody. You're affiliated some kind of way. You've got classified knowledge in your head. They are going to watch you to make sure that you stay within the realm of what they deem acceptable. Otherwise, you could be a target as well. So there's, to me, no way in this God's green earth that this person wasn't being monitored, at least somewhat of them to understand that, okay, this dude's, this dude didn't talk about this. This dude hasn't been talking about how much he hates the National Guard. how much he, hates the United States, how much he, I'm trying to get you a feel for what to me means that's like one of those deals where they'll go, yeah, we was monitoring this guy, but he just kind of slipped off our radar while he's living in Washington, D.C. And that is the most monitored town, city, area, probably in the United States, aside from where other key office buildings are, like the Federal Reserve and other things like that. Just think about that. There's no way that this guy is running around in Washington, D.C. and not in any way, form, being somewhat monitored. I was born, I might have been born at night, but not last night. Yeah. And he's living in an apartment that's $2,000 a month. And they have barely anything. They're just squandered. So that means that there's a possibility he's sending money somewhere to somebody. All of his money's going to something. Could be goat feed. I don't know. But it just doesn't make any sense at all. And Kash Patel is so full of not getting it done. And especially if it's got CIA ties to it, that means, and we know good and well that the CIA and the FBI, you put those two together, they just stick together like magnets. We can think about the FBI. What was that dude that Peter Strozak? How he was supposed to be not CIA, but because he went, I left CIA and worked for FBI, so I don't know anything about that. But good and well, once CIA, always CIA. There is an undying affiliation there. And so when the investigation starts to look more like, wow, it looks like the CIA knew what was going on the whole time. Do you think for 1 second that Mr. Get It Done Kash Patel is going to put his neck out there at all? What he's going to do is, and what's going to happen is, I have a strong suspicion that if they try, that he's going to get on camera, he's going to have his eyes big as hell, like he's just sniffed a big old line of cocaine. And he's going to say, it looks like this was a lone shooter. There was no affiliation. He was just a crazy, whacked out dude. Kind of lost his cheek. We can't tie anything to it. Looks like we've got our man. We've got our man. And I will almost bet, because if they charge this dude, if they actually file charges of terrorism, that means there'll be people that will have to go in deeper, and it will tie to the CIA, which means that we'll probably not get those charges. And then what'll happen is, this is a far stretch. I hate to be this way, but I almost feel like somehow or another somebody will get sued and this guy will get out. Something really sits wrong about this whole thing, because I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'd love to be wrong, but something tells me we're going to have this big bug-eye Kash Patel dude come out there and lie straight to your face. So Trump does have a video of what he wants to do. Let's see what happens there. Let's check this video out. This is what he's talking about here. And we can only hope that anything like this could happen. If you watch the beginning of the video, they've ingrained these people knowing good and well that they were going to be weaponized. And so they passed laws, they as in the tyrannical Biden regime, and stuff that Obama did. Obama was very strategic in his maneuvers to divide and destroy this country. But Trump vows to permanent pause on migration from third world countries. I mean, we can't get them out. At least stop the ones you got trying to get in over here. And he wants to denaturalize, disruptive migrants, and deport foreign nationals, draining our resources. That's a good idea if he can do it, if he's able to. The repeal of the law where if you have babies over here, all of a sudden they're naturalized citizens, would really help, because that's why this dude probably had 2 to 11. That means that dude had children when he got over here. As soon as he got over, he started cranking out babies, because he's been here for, well, I don't know how long he's been here, but he's cranking out babies. And then all those become citizens, his wife and all these people. And so, anyways, in a pair of lengthy posts, Trump vowed to permanently pause migration from all third world countries and terminate. Well, thing is like, a lot of these people have infiltrated Europe, which is not a third world country yet. So these people could be brought in from there. They're not going, if the parts of Europe aren't considered third world countries, and they'll just start importing the people they imported over there, which could be a strategic plan, because that'd be your first goal, is to stop third world country people from coming in. But if they're all the third world country has moved to regular countries, you don't have that problem anymore. You can just bring them in from over there. So it's going to be a hard way to go. We're caught up in a mosh. That's all I can tell you. But Trump also calls Minnesota Governor Tim Walz seriously. He's right. Seriously, YouTube is funny about words, but let's just put it this way. He calls Governor Tim Walz seriously unintelligent. That's all I'm going to say. And blasted Ilhan Omar, who probably came to the U.S. illegally, in that you are not allowed to marry your brother. Well, it would be pretty much like she got her brother in over here illegally, and that's a Letitia James Adams Schiff amount of immigration fraud, mortgage fraud thing. Anyways, the post shared on the Truth Social account late on Thursday evening come amid growing outrage over the ambush-style attack on Backstrom and her fellow guardsman, 24-year-old Andrew Wolf, who remains in critical condition. Wolf does, but Backstrom is not with us anymore. She passed away, unfortunately. Like I said, pray for those people. And in his first post, the president wished Americans a happy Thanksgiving, such and such and such and such. But anyway, so he has a plan to do something, hopefully. But the thing is like I said earlier, guys, a lot of this rolls right back in to intelligence organizations that have deep ties to very powerful people, and I think I can do this real quick before I wrap this up. I'm going to show you something. This was in my thumbnail, and this is a very, very, very true statement right here. I kind of do this in real time. I was going to wrap the video, but I want to show you. Maybe I can find it. Well, there's a badge. There was a badge that I seen. Maybe I can go to this here, and it shows where this guy, and once people say, "What do we do to help to figure out what's going on?" And the guy puts the image of the badge up, and it says you can start here, and there it is. I found it. I'm not gonna leave you guys hanging. Yeah, right here. That's his CIA, identification stuff there. Oh, by the way, this is pretty interesting. This was a Google search leading up to the to this and all. Right here, this is right here after he did this shooting, by the way. And this is some of the Google searches way before his name. Way before his name right here. You can actually see this stuff. I'm trying to make this in real time. Which is very, very, very November 25th, November 26th, and it goes way back. You can let me get this back here. I always bring that up because it's just strange that I seen a video where this guy put this out. I was like, holy crap. And he goes back even like months and months and months before that. And you can see where, for some odd reason, this guy's name was popping up way before this happened, like months before this happened. So very interested that was going on. And so who and why. It says, DC Guardsman shooting isn't adding up. Shooter, this dude here, CIA-backed Kandahar strike force vet. This was his leaked ID. Has ties to CIA, part of the partner force based on declassifying briefings, and ambushed 2 guardsmen at 2:15 yesterday. And I'm basically saying this much right here. This guy working for the CIA, supposedly an asset for them, meaning he could be a double agent all day long. Double agents exist on an exponential level, especially in high-ranking intelligence. So the fact that he was one of our guys, he just had a mental breakdown. No, this dude allegedly was operating under a double agency and using his Muslim religion as a guise to operate under Taqiyya law, which is Sharia law, but Taqiyya is a term that they use where they lie about their intentions, about what they want to do and how they want to perform, so that they can be accepted and not scrutinized, and then thrive and then become very prevalent and looked after and safeguarded so that they can attack when the time is right. It's almost like having a big wasp nest sitting beside you, ready to sting the crap out of you. But you don't, we're cool. That the wasp nest, we're cool, it's cool. You just leave us alone over here. We ain't gonna bother you. Everything's cool. You're good to go. And then you sit down and they just eat your ass up. Well, we lied to you. We're wasps. Or the snake, the snake thing where Trump used to do his campaign on with the snake. The woman brought the snake in because he was cold, and then the snake bit her. And she asked, "Why did you bite me?" He said, "Because I'm a snake, asshole." you think was going to happen? A damn snake's what I do. So there's good in everybody. Not all Muslims are like this. There's women out there that get tired of being drug out in the public and beat down by everybody and their neighbors. There's women out there that's tired of having their children sold off and married at like 9 years old so they can be pregnant at 12. And there's probably cousins out there that are really close to bloodline that don't want to be forced loving by their brother because they're just there at the right time. So I could say that much. But for the most part, when it comes to Muslims and their Sharia law, they are a cancer to society. And I have a strong suspicion there's a country out there that is right close to wherever these people live, not naming names because of YouTube, but they control our foreign policy using certain groups that actually have bought out almost 100% of the Republican Party is completely bought out by these people that strategically got us involved in their conflicts, which then, who's going to take these awful people in? Well, I guess we will. And they're laughing like crazy while we loan them $4 billion a year so that we can forgive their loans, so that when it's not under a grant, there's no oversight on what they're doing with that money. I'm not going to name any names, but just do your research. So this is almost like it's a strategic plan brought to you by this country who is our quote unquote ally, and you might know who I'm talking about. And they're sit back laughing, watching all this happen, because on top of the fact that they did this, they lobbied our politicians to make laws to keep these people in. If you've watched this whole video, thank you so very much. Please let me know what you think in the comment sections, and pray for the people, and just pray for America, and hopefully we can get past this. Have a great afternoon.